There's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. Welcome to The Bleeders, a podcast and support group about book writing and publishing. I'm writer and podcaster Courtney Kosak, and each week I'll bring you new conversations with authors, agents, and publishers about how to write and sell books. So Bleeders, summer school is now in session, and I'm doing something a little different. I'm trying to write a freaking book, and I've discovered that's very hard to do while producing 3 podcasts. So I had already batched a bunch of interviews for you guys. I was very excited to release them, and that's what I'm going to do. I did it all in advance. It's all ready for you. So, long story short, this is how it's going to go down. I am going to serve you up a mini-sode every Monday. Okay, let's call it a flash podcast in literary terms, and it's going to offer a delicious sample or a key lesson from the full conversation. It's going to be shorter, okay? And then the full interview is over on the newly launched YouTube channel for The Bleeders, which is really cute. It's really fun to watch everybody. So I think you'll enjoy that. And yes, I am going on 40 and I am launching a YouTube channel. There's no shame in my game. The handle on YouTube is @Bleeders Podcast. You have to use the @ sign. It's stupid, but it's how it works. So again, youtube.com/@Bleeders Podcast. And make sure you subscribe over there so that you can stay up on the latest. And without further ado, our instructor for today is...
Hi, this is Samantha Mann, author of Putting Out, Essays on Otherness, and editor of I Feel Love, Notes on Queer Joy.
So first of all, everybody loves your foreword. Oh. It's a killer foreword. How did that come to be?
That actually came right before we went to press. I was a little bit older. Most of these essays I had written when I was like 18 to like 24, and this was going to be published when I was going to be 30 by the time it came out. And I was just like looking through it, and I was like, God, I feel like who I am right now is not really reflected in here. So I wanted to get that in there. It was like very last minute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just wanted to also put, sometimes I feel like the collection is kind of dark, which other people are like, no, I don't feel like it's super dark. I did see one comment online one time that was like, oof, this was good, but kind of a tough read. I was like, bummer, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to have like some lightness in there too. Like, this isn't who I am anymore. I don't know if I was reassuring myself or others. Yeah, I wanted a reflection of my present self in the book as well.
Yeah, and you do a good job of just being like, I don't know, I'm speaking for I am these identities. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking for myself, kind of just setting the stage with that, which every time I'm in a class, like Chloe's class or whatever, and we are talking about forewords, yours is like a fave that everybody's trying to emulate. So great job.
Yeah. And I think especially nowadays, even this wasn't really such a hot topic when I wrote this, but just being really conscious, and I don't know if I just had the vibe was coming of like, I don't want to be speaking for everybody. So don't at me and be like, this, you didn't cover whatever, or like, what do you think about this? It's like, I don't know. That's for you to write. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just making it clear that like, this is just my stuff. I hope you find something in it. If you don't, I hope you write something that makes you feel great or read something that makes you feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the writing process, you said, 18 to early 20s, you're like collecting these pieces. Are they being published anywhere? Are you in classes? Like, how are you kind of putting it together, basically?
Yeah, I was a journalism student. I did want to be a writer. Once I got older, I was like, that's the thing I want to do. I got to college. It didn't seem like a thing that people with professional jobs really did. So I took my journalism major, I turned it to a minor. So I was writing for the school paper, but I was realizing I really liked to write essays. So I was definitely taking a lot of creative writing classes. But I was at a time personally in my life where I was still living very boxed up. So I was still presenting to be a pretty much straight woman, except for, on the weekends when I was drinking, who like really had it all together. I didn't like to talk to people about the kind of hard stuff that I was going through. So I was writing all this stuff, but I never felt like it was something that I was probably going to share with others. But then when I got older, I had written all this shit and it kind of went together. And I just, I'd gone to therapy for a bit longer. I had come out. I had told my family more stuff. I just started matching my like real self with these stories that I have written. And I just felt a bit more confident to try to submit them.
And then where were your first couple pieces published?
I don't know if anything from this book is published on the internet.
Oh, really? Nothing was published beforehand?
I don't think so. When I was like 27, I started trying to publish things online simultaneously.
Uh-huh.
But those were stuff, because even then I was still a little nervous. This felt super personal. Yeah. So I was publishing things that were like a combination of like journalism and my experience. It felt like an easier thing to hide behind. So I was writing for like XO Jane. Mm-hmm. I was writing for Bust about like pop culture stuff and then like sneaking in some of my stuff just to see how that felt. Mm-hmm. So I was doing a lot of that, and then I was querying for this on the side and just assuming like if it gets picked up, I'll just have to rip this Band-Aid off and just go with it.
All right, Bleeders, that was just a little preview. The whole interview is so good, and it's over on YouTube. So again, you go to youtube.com/@bleederspodcast. That is youtube.com/@bleederspodcast for the full conversation. You're going to love it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Bleeders. Writing is so much better with friends. I'm your host, Courtney Kosak, and hey, let's connect on social media. I am at Courtney Kosak, that is Kosak, on Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow the show on the new show accounts at Bleeders Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you're signed up for the Bleeders Companion Substack. The link is in the episode description for that. And if you could do me a huge solid and leave a 5-star rating and review. I have a goal for the summer to get to 50 ratings on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And as of this recording, I am at 7 and 20 respectively. And you can totally help me out by leaving a 5-star rating and a review if it's possible. On Spotify, you just go to the upper left-hand corner of the Bleeders page, you click the star button, and you click all 5 stars. And it really helps elevate the level of guests that we can get. So I'm hoping in the fall we can just like next level the guest booking. And I feel like we've already had such amazing people on the show. So please leave a rating and review. I would be eternally grateful. And join me again next week for another all-new episode. In the meantime, happy bleeding! P.S. I am teaching a workshop through Write or Die magazine and Chill Subs. It's called How to Build a Platform for Writers Who Shudder at the Thought. That is me, my former self. And I have since been complimented on my platform. So I want to tell you how to do it. It is on July 22nd and it is just $50. I'm going to tell you how to leverage podcasts, newsletters, social media, and maybe even some stuff you haven't thought about yet to build your writer platform. And no, you don't need to start your own podcast. Again, it's on July 22nd, and it will be recorded. There is a link in the episode description for more info, and I hope you'll join me.